Today we are playing an updated version of Domain Living End, and this deck has really two main win conditions. One of them is to resolve a Living End. That's a board wipe and filling the battlefield with your creatures in one. And the second win con is just to beat down your opponent with Scion of Draco or Territorial Kavu. Compared to the previous build, this deck plays 2 Architects of Will, since it has access to black mana now. It also plays 4 Overlord of the Bailmerk. This is a really nice way to fill your graveyard, to possibly hit Delirium for Bloodbraid Marauder, to resolve your Living End, and to also get a creature back from your graveyard. If you need that third land, you could get a generous end back or possible Oliphant. If you are looking for Bloodbraid Marauder, Overlord Diggs, it's really nice. Of course, there's also Malevolent Rumble to dig. This is a similar effect to Overlord, except you can pick any permanent card, and you get an Eldrazi spawn token, which could be sacrificed for colorless mana. This deck still has the Leyline of the Guildpact Leyline Binding package. If you have a Leyline of the Guildpact in play, your lands tap for any color of mana, and you can cast your Leyline Bindings for 1. It also allows you to cast Scion of Draco on turn 2, and your creatures to have all the effects that are listed on Scion of Draco. Alternatively, you could start beating them down with a Territorial Kavu. This creature, when it attacks, allows you to loot. You get to discard a card and draw a card, or you could exile a target card from a graveyard. This has some nice synergies with your game plan, because you could discard dead cards in your hand or possibly add another type to the yard and draw a card. Or you get to exile creatures from your opponent's graveyard to ensure that when you Living End, their board presence is not as good as yours. It seems to be an amalgam of a bunch of cards, but this plan works surprisingly well. Your mana base supports 3 colors, green, red, and black, as well as having 2 triomes to really get that domain going, in case you don't have a Leyline of the Guildpact in play. Still would allow you to possibly cast a Scion on turn 2, which is pretty good, a 4/4 flyer for 2 mana. Incubation Incongruity deserves a special mention. This card has 2 types in one. So if you cast an Incubation on turn 1, you fill the yard with 2 types, and you could possibly find that Scion, that Kavu, that Overlord, or Bloodbraid Marauder, as well as one of your land cyclers, or possibly even Endurance. It also pitches to Endurance. It does a lot of things in this deck. And Incongruity, the second mode, is also a viable option to cast every now and then if you're dealing with a very difficult creature to deal with. You just get to exile it, and your opponent gets a 3/3 green frog creature token, which is possibly easier to deal with. Sideboard wise, there's 1 Clarion Conqueror. This is really good against Affinity, against Yawgmoth, control-y decks that use Teferi or Karn. 2 Damping Sphere to deal with big mana decks, or possibly Prowess, although this might be a bit too slow. 1 Deafening Silence could be useful for Prowess, for Storm. Damping Sphere for Storm as well, by the way. 1 more Endurance, you could board that in case you're facing a lot of graveyard synergy decks. 2 Force of Vigor, could just get rid of Urza Sagas, of artifacts that are in your way. 1 Foundation Breaker, similar to Force of Vigor, except it destroys only 1 artifact or 1 enchantment. You get to evoke it for 2 mana, and it fills your graveyard with a creature that could return upon a living end that resolves successfully. 2 Inevitable Betrayal. This is good against decks that have a big beater in them. Possibly also Eldrazi. You once you resolve this, you could find a creature in your opponent's deck and put it in play under your control. It could be good in some cases. 3 Mystical Dispute, really for control matchups that possibly try to counterspell your living end. And 2 more Kavus in case you are on the play and you want to go for a more beatdown plan. You could board out, for example, the Architects of Will and just trying to beat down your opponent with Kavu, Scion, Leyline of the Guild Pact. So you can really, like, depending on your matchup, choose whether you want to go with the Domain Zoo plan or resolving a living end, or possibly both. First beating down your opponent, once they get rid of your creatures, you go switch to the living end plan. Let's play. We are on the play. We have a 1-lander, we do have an end. We also have a Leyline, so we could go Scion. Let's keep. Yep, opponent is down to 5 cards. Play our Wooded Foothills and pass. 4 cycle. At the end of our opponent's turn, they have a Yugen's Labyrinth. Exiling a Yugen. Could mean bad news for us. Hollis Dust, possibly. Let's get... This Wooded Foothills can get this Sagoth Triome in case we need something. Can also get this Triome, blue, black, red. So let's get a Temple Garden then. So we could still have Domain in case we fetch our Triome with the Wooded Foothills. Opponent is saying Living End. You say okay. They pass the turn. We find a Leyline Binding. Let's go to combat. And I think we could put another one in play. Just speed up the clock here. Could try to incubation and then find a land cycler or even surveil with the Wooded Foothills, but this works. They create a spawn token and they scry 1 and draw a card, okay. They cannot target anything because of Leyline, so they would first have to deal with the Leyline before they can deal with the Scions. Except when they have an Allus Dust expedition map, okay. Opponent looking for Tron here. 2-turn clock, we do find a Marauder. I think we should just swing. There's no point in flashing in the Leyline Binding to exile the expedition map, because they can activate it. We will probably surveil or get the Triome. Let's open up our graveyard and just hold up Leyline Binding. Opponent sacks their spawn to crack their expedition map. Interesting. Ah, they're returning Yugen to their hand, okay. That's fine. They're going to exile Leyline of the Guild Pact. So we gotta tap our Temple Garden. Well, we don't have to because it taps for white anyway. There's Yugen. Going to exile the Leyline, yep. Let it resolve. The moment we get priority, we will Leyline binding it. They activate it. Oh, of course we don't have domain. Let's fetch and get Xander's Lounge. And now we flash in Leyline, binding, go after Yugen. So we got rid of that. They did get 3 life and they are drawing a card. So they're not dead yet. They're gonna get hit for 8 this turn. We find an endurance. Let's swing. Opponent down to 3. I think we should cast this incubation using our Triome. So we have some green and white mana up for no reason, I guess. We will cycle this Generous End, find a Surveil land, Lush Portico, so we could cast Endurance next turn. Malevolent Rumble. Yeah, that's good. Let's keep that. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. Cast a Karn. Are they going to get an Ensnaring Bridge? That would be very annoying. They concede, alright. So we're up against some kind of Tron build. We'll bring in Damping Sphere. Could have big mana creatures in there. Haven't seen Living End, so maybe we should stick on the Living End plan. Clarion Conqueror is good against Karn. Maybe bring in 1 Foundation Breaker for a possible Ensnaring Bridge. Maybe 1 Force of Vigor. We will go down on the Kavus. 1 endurance. Maybe 1 more endurance, 1 more living end. Yep, let's run it like this. We have a 1 lander, too small. Do have natural domain, and putting living end at the bottom is good. We have a ley line, we have a Draco. This is a pretty good hand. Do have to lead on the Triome. Opponent casts an expedition map. There's Foundation Breaker. They will likely crack this map before we can cast Foundation Breaker or revoke it. Yep, Force of Vigor. Let's shock this in. Cast our Scion. And pass. There's the expedition map. Go with an Ursa's Tower. Might go Karn. Let's see. Possibly beat them down in 5 turns with our Scion. Might go after our lands with Karn. There's Karn. They don't take Karn. Get a Sundering Titan. Alright, I think we will just evoke our Foundation Breaker next turn and get rid of the expedition map. Oh, they can activate it, alright. Find an Otawara. They're going to bounce our ley line. They don't have blue mana at the moment. We find an Ent. We are going to swing at Karn. Okay. Another land would have allowed us to deal with the Sundering Titan, casting an Incongruity. Not sure if it's the right move to force cycle the generous end now and get possibly the wrong land. Maybe we should just cast an incubation. See if we could find a Marauder or something. Could grab another Scion. They are likely going to get rid of our ley line and get us off domain. It's a bit of a dead card then. Just get an Overlord and pass. Overlord digs and fills our graveyard. There's the Titan. So let's see. Let's tap this for green. They can destroy both of our lands. Yep. Closer to Delirium. We don't want to pass because we want to force cycle. Now we have Delirium as well. I think we should go with a Stomping Ground. So we could cast Incubation and we have red mana. Yep. Let's go to their end step and cast the Force of Vigor. Pitching the Foundation Breaker. It is in their yard now. Gotta be aware of that. Find a Boseiju. Let's swing. Shock this in. Cast the Incubation. Find a Land Cycler or a Marauder. Green. Living End is dangerous with their Sundering Titan in the yard. We will get the Oliphant. And pass. Could go Overlord next turn. Opponent has 6 cards in hand. Play a Power Plant. Cast a Castle X command. They are likely going to scry and draw a card. They create spawns. Yep. If we draw another land, we could use Boseiju on one of their Tron lands. Could be useful. But they do have a bunch of spawns now. That allows them to cast big things. They do top a few cards, so they did find what they need. Possibly another Karn. Portent of Calamity. Okay. X equals 7. Yeah, with the... Yeah, they do have all the types, 4 types. They will likely cast the Yugin. There it is, they get to exile our Leyline. Okay. Likely plus here. Yep. They gain 3 life, they do have to go to cleanup. They discard Fact or Fiction. So they're actually blue Tron. Let's see. Architects of Will. Could get a Surveil land, or we could cycle Architects of Will. I think we need to get black mana. Kind of have to attack this Yugin, fortunately. Yugin down to 5. Let's Mountain cycle here. We have red and green. Could get Sanders Lounge. Or Elegant Parlor. Probably Xander's Lounge and just pass. They can likely cast a lot of things here. They cannot exile our Scion with the Yugen, so that's good. We will Boseiju Ursa's Mine. Most likely, they cast the Castle-X command. They have 6, 7, 9. Okay, they could exile Scion. That's unfortunate. I think our only hope is to resolve Living End here. Would have to deal with a 7-10 that destroys our lands, but could work. They ended up not casting K command, okay. Find another Scion of Draco. Let's attack them. Or the Planeswalker rather. Planeswalker down to 3. I think they have access to 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 mana. Could Boseiju them now. Let's do that. Boseiju this land. Ursa's Mine. They will likely cast the K command now. To get rid of our Scion. Could have waited, but then they could have cast even a bigger K command. Okay. So they of course cannot get rid of Scion because they have to pay 2 for the Castle-X command. So they don't have enough. They do get a bunch of spawn tokens. We still have our Scion. Two more turns possibly before we dealt enough damage to Yugen. We really have to do that because they can gain 3 life every turn and exile our stuff. Except for our Scion. They could possibly find another mine now, by the way, in their top 10. So that's unfortunate. Okay, let's see. Yep, there's the mine. They go Portent of Calamity again. This allows us to see whether they play any big creatures, so we could possibly board in Inevitable Betrayal game 3. Yeah, they do have an Emrakul in there. If they cast that one, we would concede to not convey too much information. I don't think our opponent has seen the Overlord. Well, they saw us choosing it. They still don't know we have a Marauder. We could possibly Living End or use Inevitable Betrayal. There's Emrakul, let's concede. So we will board in Inevitable Betrayals. They are on blue Tron, so maybe the Mystical Disputes are pretty good. Maybe we only want 2 of them though. And could bring back the Kavus. Board out the Living End. Get rid of the Architects of Will. Maybe 2 Kavus actually. Damping Sphere, we haven't seen that. Last game. Get rid of an Endurance. Foundation Breaker. I'd like to keep 1 Force of Vigor for anything they could get off Karn. Mystical Dispute is countering their blue spells. Inevitable Betrayal gets their Emrakul. Could also go for the Zoo beatdown. I think this is good. We are on the play. Have 2 Ley Lines of the Guild Pact, 1 Inevitable Betrayal, 1 Generous End and a Damping Sphere. This hand would have been good if it wouldn't have been a Triome, because then we could have 4 cycled turn 1, cast a Damping Sphere. Now I think we do have to mull this, unfortunately. Not sure if we can get Domain, because we have a Triome that is blue-green. No, it doesn't have white, so we wouldn't have Domain. Could get it off the Oliphant. We have a Marauder. Not sure if this is good enough either. Could fetch Sacred Foundry. Mountain Cycle turn 1 to get the Triome. It's kind of too slow. I think we should get rid of the Scion here. Let's try. We will fetch and shock at the end of their turn. Let's open our graveyard. Opponent kept their 7. They might have natural Tron. Let's see. So we are going to get a Sanders Lounge off of the Oliphant. Wait, so we actually do have to fetch this Triome. Because otherwise we still don't have Domain. Or we get a Stomping Ground. No. We can get a Sacred. No, we need green and white. Yeah, so we need to get this Triome actually. And then we would Mountain Cycle this thing. and shock in Sacred Foundry. So now Leyline is online. 2 types in the yard. Next turn we have 4 types, so we could Marauder. There's Talisman. It's great. Let's see. Opponent passes, we will cast this Leyline Binding. Yep. Damping Sphere, that's pretty good too. We could cast that as well, but it would interfere with our Marauder plan. I think we should just shock in this Blood Crypt, cast the Incubation, just to get the 3rd and 4th types in the yard. We could get another Marauder and put that Emrakul into play. There we go. Select our opponent. And opponent concedes. On the play, do we have a Leyline, 2 Scions? If we could get a second land, that would be great. Let's YOLO it. Opponent is down to 6. And they keep their hand. We put the Leyline on the battlefield and pass priority. Opponent plays a Plains and a Cleric class. So some life gain deck. Okay. To find a Leyline Binding. Get Incubation. Now let's hold Leyline up and we could always Surveil. Texas blessed by the sun. Okay. Sure. Let's just Surveil. Let's get the Elegant Parlor. Yep. That is not a land that will be put in the yard. That is also not a land, so we will just cast an Incubation, try to find an Oliphant, Generous End. Yeah, we will get the Generous End and just pass the turn. Unfortunately, maybe we should have done that turn 1. Soul Warden, some kind of life gain deck. We were just too greedy with ley lines and the Scions. Okay. Essence Channeler is gonna grow big. If we can get another land, nope. Surveil land, I guess. I think we could try to surveil into another land. It's a tap land. Could also go for our living end plan. I think we should bin this just past the turn. Let's open up our graveyard. We have delirium, so if we could get a marauder. Gain a bunch of life again. 0 cards in hand though. We are going to take 10. Down to 7. There's another land. So we could rumble and try to find a marauder. Let's do that. We don't find a marauder, of course. Just put the Boseiju in hand. Nope. Okay, they gain 1 life. So we could block something. I think going Scion is best. Gain some life back. And we could block the Essence Channeler until we find a marauder. Opponent says nice. Do they have a Solitude? Possibly. I think next turn we might want to put a Scion in play anyway. Oh, it's not good for us. Kind of dead here, right? Yep, exactly dead. We're just too long on 1 land. If we block here, we're dead. Yep. Alright, that's very unfortunate. Just too greedy. Only at our 2nd land, turn 3. Could get a foundation breaker. Not super interesting. Force of Vigor. I think we are off the Scion of Draco plan. Now let's port this in then. 1 foundation breaker. Yeah, let's run it back. Just shouldn't have kept. Again, a 1-lander. Small. This is better. Let's bottom the mountain. Go ley line, incubation. do reveal. We have all types in the yard, almost all types. No, let's pass. Opponent plays a plains and a cleric class. We will cycle here. Get the Triome. Might have an answer to Leyline. Xander's Lounge. Then we should get... No, let's get the Elegant Parlor then. Sacred Foundry. Okay. We could rumble. Or we go Overlord. I think we should go Overlord here. Put a threat in play. Possibly get a Marauder. Scion of Draco or Oliphant. Yeah, then we will take the Scion. Just pass. Next turn we will go Rumble. If we don't find a Marauder, we will go Scion. Might be too early to Living End though. Same play by our opponent. We draw a Living End. Alright. Let's rumble. I'll just take the Scion then. Just cast a Scion. Start hitting our opponent. Seen 17 cards and no Marauder. Do we have a few creatures in the yard? We'll just start swinging with Scion. We'll cast the Incubation to find a Marauder. Although we don't have to Living End right now. Okay. That's pretty good. Opponent passes. Find another Overlord. Let's swing. Can't block. Cast this Incubation. Also cast Incongruity. 4 cards in hand now. Green. Let's see. Do find a Marauder. I think we wanna cast a Scion though. Be a bit greedy here. Just pass the turn. Want our opponent to put some more creatures into play. Otherwise we will just kill them with our Scions. Patch Patchwork banner. Okay. What did they choose? Cleric. Right. Are they going to combat? And do we want to block? They don't swing, alright. This thing doesn't have flying yet. Okay, let's just swing with this. Overlord almost online. Opponent says whoops. Okay. Two cards in hand. Let's just cast this Overlord. See what we find. I think we will take the Oliphant. And pass. Overlord almost online. Putting more creatures in play, that's good. Another cleric class, sure. They are attacking. We will block both to let the Scions die. And we will surveil. Maybe surveil another creature into the yard. Lush Portico. Leyline, we don't need that. Architects of Will. Let's go Oliphant. Mountain. Architects of Will. And Marauder. Hopefully no Mana Tide. Nope. Okay. Let's see what they draw. Okay, they do get some triggers here for some reason. Okay. Opponent at 20 now. Okay. We will give them Soul Warden in the plains. We can't take anything. Okay. Yep, Marauder in play. Pass the turn. Next turn we will deal some massive damage here. Opponent is likely reading all our cards. Do get another Overlord. At the end of our turn. Opponent is confused. LOL. They draw planes. They do play the planes. And they're gonna level up the cleric class. It's okay, but you're gonna be dead. All our creatures have vigilance, lifelink, first strike, and trample. It's pretty good. So we'll just swing. And get a bunch of triggers here. Just discard a card. Give this thing +2/+0 and Marauder. Get another Scion. Get another Marauder. Discard the living end, draw a forest. And we're gonna deal a lot of damage here. Don't want to do the math. Okay. Do we want to change anything? Not really. So we're on the play and we have 2 triumphs. A ley line, generous end. I think we should maul this. Yeah, we could keep this. Let's bottom the Overgrown Tomb. Opponent plays a Plains and a Cleric class. Okay. Find a Bloodbraid Marauder. Okay. That's good. Same play as the previous 2 turns, sure. We'll get the Triome. Sanders Lounge. It's good, I guess, and then no, we should get the Triome and then Sacred Foundry, that's right. Okay. Living End, not a good pickup, of course. Let's shock in the Sacred Foundry. Play the Kavu. Pass the turn. One card type in the yard. We cannot really cast our incubation now. Unless we start looting with Kavu. Could also loot the Kavu away. Could work as well. Opponent plays a Patchwork Banner and passes. Find a Rumble. Let's first start swinging. And let's loot away the other Kavu. Find another Living End. Okay. Opponent does not block. Cast the Rumble. Let's put the we need green or do we need black? Let's put the Stomping Ground into hand. So we could Marauder now. It's a bit too early, I think. Maybe shock in the Stomping Ground, go incubation. Guess we'll take the Oliphant then. Possibly go Living End next turn. You level up Cleric class, okay. Are they attacking? No. Let's see what we draw here. Ley line, okay. And we're gonna swing. Loot. Loot away the ley line. Architects of Will, that's good. So let's see if our opponent blocks. They don't. Might have a Mana Tide. We're gonna play around that. Could go Oliphant, Architects of Will. Let's first go Oliphant. Pick up our Surveil Land, I guess, or the Triome. Guess Surveil Land is better. And we'll go Architects. Draw Boseiju. Play the Mountain. Go Bloodbraid. Living End. Here we go. Architects. Put the patchwork on top. I think we'll pass. Opponent gives us the GG. Do have lethal. Could gain a bunch of life. Play the patchwork banner. Yep. This hand could reach domain turn 2 with a leyline binding up. Go Kavu turn 3. It's kind of slow. Living End is a dead card. Let's maul. Okay, we have a leyline, we have a Scion, we have a Triome, and we have a Rumble. Could either bottom the Triome and get the 2 leylines. Or rather bottom the Wooded Foothills, I guess. No, we'll bottom the Sacred Foundry and keep. And we will put both on the battlefield. And then we'll play the Triome and pass. Opponent kept their 7. They pass. Leyline binding, good. We will go Scion. And pass the turn. Five turn clock here. Hard to deal with the Scion. Opponent surveils. Surveils an Arid Mesa into the yard. Play an Ursa Saga, possibly up against Hammer. Play a Cory Steelcutter. Bobble. Mox Opal, okay. They do get a Monk token. Living End, we will swing. I think we should just keep the leyline binding up. Maybe already deploy it and just surveil end of turn. It's probably best. Take the Cory Steelcutter. Get them off Metalcraft. Just have a 1/1 Monk token with Prowess. Cast an Ornithopter, okay. There's a blocker, cast a Bobble. We won't block. If they would have gone to attacks, let's get an elegant parlor here. I think that's... And we have domain. We get to surveil. I think this is hammer time. Another land. No, we don't really need that. To find another land anyway. Swing. Might block with the ornithopter. They don't. Let's see, we have one type in the yard. We'll just go rumble. Put a Bloodbraid Marauder into our hands. Nope. We could Living End. They might get some graveyard hate, we'll see. For now we're good with the Scion. Do create a construct token, okay. I don't know if they see the line. They sack the bubble. Looking at my top card. Draw a card. Might get a Haywire Might for our ley lines. Not sure if they have that in the main board. Opponent might get Shadow Spear too. Get another Ornithopter. Seaguard is 8, okay. Sure. That's fine. So it is hammer time. Cast the Shadow Spear. Okay. We can attach it to something. Construct token, okay. We will block. Guess we're going Marauder next turn. Find a Sacred Foundry. Play that tapped. Cast Marauder. Here we go. Not expecting a counter spell. Yep. So we have an Oliphant, a Scion, and a Bloodbraid Marauder. No haste, but next turn we can deal 15 damage. Opponent casts another Seaguard as 8. Mox Opal is offline. Endurance is good. Just swing. Let's put the counter or the trigger on the Bloodbreak Marauder. Opponent down to 2. Do have an Endurance. Opponent stuck on 1 land. Yep, they scoop. Okay. Up against Hammer time. Definitely want the Force of Figures, the Foundation Breaker, Clarion Conqueror, Damping Sphere, Deafening Silence. It's pretty good too. We will get rid of the Kavus on the draw. Guess the Endurances. Although we need some green cards to pitch to Force of Figure. Leyline pitches, so yeah, let's keep this. We do have Domain, so we could go Scion next or turn 2. Yeah, let's keep. Opponent casts a bauble. Sacks the bauble to look at their top card. Play a Plains and Seaguard as aid. Okay. Find an Architects of Will. Now we have to play the Triome and pass. Next turn we'll shock in the Temple Garden. Play the Scion. Opponent doesn't do anything, alright. Might have a consign for Scion. We will see. They are fetching. Yep, they shock in a Hallowed Fountain and they probably have a consign in hand. Yep, that's fine. 2 types in the yard now. They even replicate it. I want to be extra sure that we don't get a Scion. I think next turn we will go Mountain Deafening Silence Scion. Okay, might have a hammer in hand, yep. Get to draw, we can attach the hammer. Okay. Find a Wooded Foothills. Can't get Graveyard Hate yet. Think we should go Mountain. Deafening Silence. Cast the Scion. And pass. If we could surveil off the wooded foothills and surveil the 4th type into the yard, then we're good. Are we blocking here? Guess we kind of have to, although it's not lethal. Opponent is going to create a construct token. Find an incubation, that's very good. Could get rid of the pure steel paladin too. And our living end does that for us. They are going to create a construct token, get a hammer off of the saga. So we might want an incubation for another Bloodbraid Marauder. We don't find it though. Could get the Oliphant. Yeah, let's get the Oliphant. Could have another consign, by the way. That would be devastating. Let's just go Bloodbraid Marauder and see what happens. Don't have a consign. Ah, we got hit by our own deafening silence. Okay, that's game. What a punt. That is really a punt. Just got struck by our own deafening silence here. Let's board into Kavu. I think Overlord is a bit too slow. Maybe the 3rd Kavu. Or just get rid of the Architects. Board in another Overlord. And the 4th Kavu. Ah, that was really a punt. That's really stupid. We have 1 forest. Do we have a generous end? Yeah, let's keep. Forest go. Opponent surveils. A Quarry Steel Cutter into the yard. Plays a Mishra's Bauble. Targets themselves. Not sure why. Another bauble. Okay. They don't do anything, okay. You have to get a red. So only a stomping ground then, unfortunately. So our Kavu is just a 2/2. There's a mountain. Also incubation. I think I'd rather go Kavu, Rumble next turn. Let's pass. Kavu can loot away the incubation. Max Opal. Bauble. Esper Sentinel, okay. We have a one lander, okay. Let's shock in the Temple Garden. Make Kavu a 3/3. We will attack. Loot away incubation. Or the stomping ground, maybe. Now let's start with the incubation. Find the wooded foothills. Opponent doesn't block. Obviously. We will cast a rumble. And we will pay. They spell pierce the rumble, okay. That's fine. No rumble for us. So they boarded in a spell pierce. Maybe they should have kept that for the living end. Could get a Scion next turn. See if they're going to grow the Esper Sentinel here. They are fetching. Shocking in the Sacred Foundry. Steel Shaper's Gift. Okay. Colossus Hammer. Oh, they have a Sigardus 8. Okay. Sure. Going to swing for 11. It's pretty good. So what we will do is get a Triome. Wait, we cannot get a Triome here. We need blue. Do we have blue in here? No, only in the Triome, right? Yup. Get this Triome then. Then swing for 5. Discard the Stomping Ground. Find an end. If we could find a Marauder off this rumble, that would be good. We're not paying. 11 mana. We don't find a Marauder. Yeah, we could try to get the other Triome, but we could, don't know if we can get that off the end. Just take the wooded foothills. Nope. Maybe we should have. Nah. Can play the Kavu next turn. We will block with the spawn. Next turn we can cast the Incongruity. Unless they have a Spell Pierce, of course. Cast a Quarry Steel Cutter, dangerous. Ah, they have Trample now, okay. That's game. GG. Okay, we are on the draw. We find a Scion. We have a Marauder. Yeah, let's keep. We will open up our graveyard. Slagwoods Bridge. Find an Endurance. Wooded Foothills, go. Could have cast the Incubation to fill the yard for Delirium for Marauder, but Foothills can fetch our Triome. So we could still decide whether to go Scion or Overlord turn 2. The Lighted Halfling, okay. Another bridge artifact kind of build. Possibly hardened scales. Sanders Lounge. It's blue, green, black. Red, yeah, we'll get this Triome here. I think we'll just go Scion. Pass the turn. Let's open our opponent's graveyard too. Here we go. Molten Rain. Okay. Molten Rain main board. Alright. End the turn. Oliphant. Let's swing. Hit our opponent for 4 here. Is this some kind of land destruction deck? I think putting an Overlord in play is nice. I think we can fetch an Overgrown Tomb. We need green and white for this Sanders Lounge. We have white and green. Okay, so we can get the other Triome off the Oliphant and still have Domain. Let's cast this pending. We hit Delirium. Do we want the Architects of Will? Not sure if we can cycle it next turn if they destroy our Overgrown Tomb, so let's leave it in the yard. Downtick Overlord. They have 4 cards in hand. There's Blood Moon, that's fine. Some kind of land shenanigan deck. Just swing for 4. Play the stomping ground tapped. And just pass. Opponent is at 12 life. Three more hits. Play Karn. Okay. That works. Are they going after our lands? If they down take Karn, we will definitely go after Karn. Only have 1 mana available, 2 cards in hand. You are down taking Karn. Liquid metal coating, okay. Oh, they can cast that, yeah, sure. Alright. So we will wait until they activate liquid metal. They won't, alright. Let's just swing then. Swing at Karn. Okay. Forgot to activate liquid metal, I guess. Guess we'll just play a Blood Crypt tapped and pass. Opponent has no real threats. Our Overlord keeps down ticking. Opponent has another Karn, okay. One card in hand. Are they going to down take Karn? Maybe get an ensnaring bridge. Turning Stomping Ground into an artifact. We will tap it. Going to plus Karn, okay. That's fine. Don't care. Are we going to Forest Cycle or Mountain Cycle? Let's do it. Just get a mountain, I guess. Just start swinging at them. Now let's swing at Karn. Need to get rid of that. Opponent cannot block. Okay, just play our mountain, I guess, and pass. Overlord on 1 now. Could activate Karn 1 more time, probably. What are they doing? Going after overgrown tomb. They'll just forest cycle. Probably get the basic forest. Are they down ticking Karn? Nope. You're just going after our lands. They are attacking us, alright. Find another overlord that we cannot cast. We will swing at Karn. Get rid of that. Okay. Could play our forest. I think we should just hold on to it. Pass. Overlord is there now. Even has lifelink because of Scion. Stone Rain. Or Blood Crypt. Let's just tap it. One more card in hand. Let's just pass. They don't do anything. Find another land. Swing. Let's see what we find. Kavu. And a Bloodbraid Marauder. Yeah. Guess the end is useful to have. To block the Overlord. We'll just force cycle now. No. We'll play the Wooded Foothills and pass. Opponent might be dead next turn. Yep, they concede. So we're up against some kind of land destruction deck. Let's board in the Force of Figures for Blood Moon. Clarion Conqueror against Karn, Foundation Breaker. Deafening Silence might be nice. They can't go Karn down, take play something. Maybe get rid of the Endurances. And the two Kavus. Yeah, let's run it like this. No lands, so that's a mall. Opponent is also down to 6. No lands, so again we will maul. Three lands. Do we have a Marauder? We could get black off the Oliphant. Might not be fast enough though. I think we will bottom the Overlord. The Oliphant. Not such a great hand. Just lead on the Elegant Parlor. Opponent kept their 6. No lands twice in a row. Opponent is thinking about what to do. I'm assuming. Opponent is not doing much. Seems like our opponent is away from keyboard. Okay, opponent was waiting. Plays a Wooded Foothills. Cast the Delighted Halfling. Okay. So they could possibly already Molten Rain next turn. Oh no, they don't have green. Rumble. I mean, it is good. Is it good enough? Do have access to two green, so let's keep it. We need to fill our yard for Bloodbraid Marauder. We have a foundation breaker for a possible blood moon. And we also have a Boseiju. They cast a liquid metal coating, so they even have that main board. They don't attack. Alright. I think we should go Rumble and go Deafening Silence next turn. Kind of need a Clarion Conqueror. Let's take that. Hopefully we can get there mana wise. They could get us off the white mana, but we do have Delirium. Might cast Karn now. They don't. They again don't attack. Very interesting. Find a Leyline Binding. I think we should just slam this Clarion Conqueror and hold back the Boseiju. Yeah. Boseiju might be more useful. So they can't activate Karn now, they can't activate Liquid Metal Coating, they can't activate the Lighted Halfling, they can't even tap their lands for mana. So they only have 1 green mana available right now. There's some red mana. They pass. Okay, Leyline Binding. Let's start beating on them. Guess we'll go Deafening Silence. Could destroy the Liquid Metal Coating, but I think I'd rather hold the Foundation Breaker in hand. Opponent finds another land. It's fetching Mountain and just passes. Alright. Find an Overlord. Just keep hitting them. If they destroy our Clarion Conqueror, we could possibly Living End. Leyline Binding costs 2 mana. Could also use that end of turn. End of their turn. Not sure what opponent is waiting for. Can't block. Okay. Do have another land. They fetch right away. They get a basic mountain. What is this? They can't activate that. Okay. Guess we will binding that just in case. Okay, you can see we are on the draw. Three Scions. What's a one lander? That's small. Two surveil lands. Do have a marauder. Can we get there? We can't cycle the architects. It has two types. Yeah, let's keep. It's not a good hand. Don't want to go down to 5 cards. Opponent is down to 6 cards as well. We will open up our graveyard. Opponent kept their top card. Could go Lush Portico to have incubation up. Yeah, let's do that. Leyland binding, let's bin that. Get another type in the yard. Play a forest and pass. Okay, find another incubation. Yeah, we kind of have to surveil here. We should have played the incubation first, of course. Let's graveyard that, or bin that. Gonna look for generous end. Do have delirium, by the way. They might have an endurance. Yeah, we'll get the Oliphant. And pass. Scribe Ranger, okay. Could mountain cycle the Oliphant and already go living end. Just go Kavu. Kavu is a 3/3. Might be a bit too soon for a living end. They have a ghost quarter. That is very unfortunate. They get to exile cards from a graveyard. Okay. Hit us for 1. We're down to 3 cards. Find a stomping ground. I think we should living end right now. Shock this in. We will mountain cycle. Sanders Lounge. Green we have white, yep. Then we'll go Marauder. Living end on the stack. We will pitch Endurance. We will cast Endurance, pitching guess a Kavu. Just target them. So we get 3 creatures. Oh, forgot the trigger. Yep. Okay, so I forgot the Endurance trigger. They have 2 creatures in their yard. It's unfortunate. Let's open up their graveyard. Yep, that's unfortunate. Next turn we will swing for 14. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. It's a basic plains. Cast a Green Sun's Zenith for X equals 3. Renegade Railer. Okay. Keen-eyed Curator. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. We could have gotten rid of that. Let's play this Sanders Lounge. We will just binding Keen-eyed Curator. Okay, opponent scooped. Guess we could bring in some Force of Figures. One more Endurance. Get rid of the Kavu. Or just go all in on the zoo plan. Get rid of the Architects. Kavu on the draw is not super good. Could go after our lands. One Foundation Breaker, maybe. Maybe just get off the living end plan altogether. Go down 1 living end. 1 Marauder. Board into Kavu. Yeah, let's try it like this. Opponent will go after our lands. Can exile cards from our graveyard. Do we have 2 ley lines? Just 1 land though. We have to mull this. Haven't seen our Scion. We have 6 lands in hand and 1 ley line. This is of course a maul. Opponent is also down to 5. We have 2 ley lines and a Scion, but no lands. So we have to go down to 4. We have a Triome. We will bottom Endurance. Blood Parade. Leyline Binding. Keep. Hopefully draw another land. Don't even have a leyline. Opponent casts a Noble Hierarch. We find a leyline binding. Try on go. Opponent plays a Windswept Heath. Gets a Forest. Knight of the Reliquary. Okay. Overlord. Not good, of course. Just for a cycle this end. Green and white is what we need, so we'll get this Lush Portico. Kavu. Could we cast that Kavu? Yeah, I think we have to keep it. If they go after the Triome, we can get a mountain and we still have a 3/3. Beater. Good loot for us. There they go. Opponent gets the Ghost Quarter, I guess. No. You're just pumping? Reliquary. Okay. Green Sun's Zenith. X equals 3. Grist. Okay. They create an insect token. I think we should leyline binding the Grist. So they can't go after our creatures. Maybe we should have cast Incubation first. To find a cycler, a land cycler. Yeah, let's get the Scion then. Pass. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. Stone Forge Mystic. Caldra complete. We get hit for 7 next turn. I almost have lethal. Find another Scion. Just cast the Scion, I guess. Maybe miraculously we could find a Marauder. We would have Delirium with the Scion in the yard. I'm going to cheat this Caldra complete into play. We sort of have to block the knight because we don't want the Scion to be exiled off the cauldron. They're only attacking with their germ token. Yeah, let's block. So we take 2. Endurance. Just another Scion. Just keeping them coming. Oh, we can shrink the knight actually. That's pretty good. We'll find another land. They surveil. Path to exile. Okay. We will get green, I guess. A Binner Giver of Ruins. Okay. We could survive. This is a 2/2. Like 4. Yeah, we could survive one more turn. Attack with everything, okay. Let's pitch the Kavu to the Scion, to the Endurance. We'll target our opponent. We're taking 9 damage, still alive. Or rather, Endurance. Could go Overlord. Nah, that's game. 4 card types. Could go Overlord, but we need a Marauder. Scion doesn't do anything. Endurance. Could block this, but we would still take lethal. Nope. It's just maul to five was rough. Opponent didn't really interact with our graveyard. Maybe we should keep the living end plan in mind. Just go down on Foundation Breakers and Force of Figures. Hit submit. We will be on the play. We have a Rumble, an Oliphant and an Overlord. Do I have Domain here? Is it enough? Yeah, let's keep. We'll fetch our Triome, then go Overlord turn 2. Or we could Surveil and then shock in a Blood Crypt. Might be better. Scion, let's keep that. Let's open up our graveyard. Giver of Ruins, okay. Scion. Shock in the Blood Crypts. Go Overlord. Overlord for Impending. See what we get. We'll find a Marauder, let's take it. Pass the turn. 3 types in the yard. We could Living End next turn. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. Okay. Could not Living End next turn. We draw Living End. So let's get a Triome here. And go Scion. Which Triome? Blue, black, red. Could get this. Get Sanders Lounge off the Oliphant. So let's get this Triome. Go with Scion. And then pass. Overlord is F3. Opponent doesn't attack. Passes the turn, they might have an Endurance in hand. So we could shock this in, go Rumble, then we cannot go Marauder. We will just attack, see what happens. Opponent down to 14. Let's Rumble. We have our second Living End in the yard, so we cannot Living End anymore. It's very, very unfortunate again. Guess we will take the Leyline Binding. Shock in the Temple Garden. We could go after Thalia. We will see. They do have a Giver of Ruins. Plains, Endurance. That's great, because now they put our Living End back into our deck. That's pretty good. Thank you. get to play lands from their graveyard. Is that something we care about? Kind of, I guess. Let's first see what they do. Just wondering whether we should deal with this at all. Yeah, let's get this leyline binding in now. We'll first block the endurance. Done. Now we will cast the leyline binding. We will target cast the Thalia. They give protection, but that shouldn't work. It does work. Okay. Thought it didn't work. Find a rumble. 3. Yeah, we could rumble. Green, green. Let's go green, red. Now we'll go like this. Enchantment land creature. Could take the wooded foothills. Guess we'll take it. Nope. So no living end for us. Could still hit our opponent for 4. I think we should hold back and try to surveil. Overlord is down ticking. They did not fetch at the end of their turn. There's Noble Hierarch. There's Endurance. That would give us Delirium here. So let's block. Unless they have another Endurance in their hand. Clarion Conqueror. Shock this in. Go Marauder. Cast Living End. We will pay 1 for Mountain Cycle this thing here. Get a Sanders Lounge. not overcommit the board. Opponent has no answer to it. Okay. And they scoop.